Jay, you ready to begin?
Yep.
Okay, the time is 6:01. I'm going to call to order the December 1st, 2020 meeting of the South Kingstown Conservation Commission. We'll have roll call. Mary Talbot Rabiano,
Here.
Vern Wyman,
Here.
Lorraine Jubert,
Here.
Ann Heffron.
Here.
Absent tonight is Matt Bradywood and Christopher O'Connor. I am David Flanders, and with us is our principal planner, Jay Parker. Second order of business is the minutes from the November 3rd meeting. Does anybody have any comments or additions to make to the minutes?
I will recuse only because I was not part of that meeting, so.
Good, yep. I did have a couple of things to note too. On page 1, under new business, it said discussion ensued in regard to number of proposed bathrooms and then the other items such as wetland edge verified by DEM. In the second paragraph, we requested the applicant to return on December 1st to provide additional information, and that information should include the number of bathrooms. And secondly, on page 2, all of a sudden the date switches to August 4th, 2020. And that's just a typo, so that should be straightened out.
We'll correct that.
Yep. Our next is old business, and it's the advisory opinion to the zoning board on the Monteforti special use permit. It seems that for what I have gleaned from the new plans we got, that everything we requested, except for the number of proposed bathrooms, has been covered. Is somebody here representing the special use permit from 40?
Yes, good evening, everyone. I'm John Kenyon, attorney for the applicant. As the chairman stated, we're here tonight for a recommendation on a special use permit under section 504.1 of the zoning ordinance for to install an OWTS within 150 feet of a wetland. At the last meeting, there were some questions asked and additional information requested. The commission noticed that there was no calculation for impervious lot coverage, which is somewhat unique to section 504.1. The engineer has provided that, and we're at 14.8%, which meets the 15% limitation. We also provided new drainage calculations, and we now meet the 25-year storm. And also, I think the board asked about the living area above the garage, and that is not proposed to be living area. That's going to be storage. We didn't have that information at the last meeting. The one thing I don't know that the chairman brought up was the number of bathrooms. And so Jason Clout is the project engineer. He's here tonight along with the owner. Jason, do you have any information on that?
I do not. I just texted the builder to see if he could let me know. I don't recall that having been a question from last time. I know I recall there been a discussion about the square footage and whether there was any living space above the garage, but I guess I must have missed it if there was a question about the number of bathrooms. I mean, it is a 4-bedroom home, and that's what the septic design is based on.
And while we're waiting for that, did the board members have any other questions for Jason?
Did you actually verify that the wetland edge was verified by DEM?
The wetland edge, we had submitted to DEM, and then they had kicked it back as far as the wetlands portion of it, and we I guess that'll be part of the CRMC application.
Did DEM kick it back because it was CRMC's jurisdiction or because they had questions?
because it's CRMC's jurisdiction.
Oh. So no approval was no, there is no review by DEM at this point.
On the wetland, correct.
Okay.
As basically, it wasn't part of their jurisdiction, so they weren't taking jurisdiction on it.
Did they move the jurisdictional line?
I mean, we had submitted a combined wetlands and septic application to DEM, and the comments that came back from the wetlands folks was that we needed to submit for an assent on the wetland.
Okay. All right.
And Jason, just to clarify that, DEM approved the OWTS,
That is correct.
but as
Okay.
far as the CRMC assent, we have to get our zoning approvals before we can go and request the assent. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Regarding the plans for dealing with runoff,
Okay.
how well do you think the dry wells are going to function when there's a rainstorm, given that it's a 2-foot water table? I have some areas in my neighborhood that are dry most of the time until we get a decent size, like a 1-inch storm, and then it's ponding.
Well,
So how would the dry wells actually work under a storm situation?
So the design of these, so the design that was we had included last time was just with a rain garden. And then to
Right.
satisfy the requirement for a 25-year storm, we added 2 dry wells in addition to the rain garden.
Right.
So the roof is split between the 2 dry wells. We sized the dry wells to be able to handle the 25-year storm. So we looked at various intensities of the 25-year storm, which are shown in the calculations that were provided with our letter. And we sized the storage and infiltration capacity of the dry wells to accommodate the worst case in the 25-year storm. So there was various storm intensities, and we look at the various intensities, whether it's a 1-hour storm all the way to a 24-hour storm. And in some cases, for the different intensities, the system's oversized, but we're looking for like what is the worst case. The water table, yes, we do have a high water table on the site, providing the separation that's required for the dry wells. And again, we size them for the 25-year storm. So they're rather large dry wells, and what you would typically see for a house with the what would be sized for a single family home based on the stormwater manual. So they're designed to handle the 25-year storm.
So that takes into account the rainfall from a 25-year storm. Also
Yes.
take into account the ground level water rise that occurs during a rainstorm, during a rain event.
Yeah, the overall design is taking that all into account.
Okay.
Does anybody else have any questions for the applicant? Well, what is the will of the commission? Shall we go ahead and give a positive recommendation for the special use permit?
I don't think the lid requirement, the requirement to minimize impacts to the extent possible, I don't think that's been met. The limits of disturbance are very tight. The building edges and the stockpile, the well, everything is very close to the limits of disturbance. I don't see how those are going to be maintained unless a much more rigid fence is installed rather than silt fence. I also think that a house with a foundation on a 2-foot water table results in extensive disturbance, much more than a slab. And it has the potential to alter natural drainage, subsurface drainage to the wetland, which is important for maintaining denitrification through the wetland. I also think the driveway is huge. DEM has model standards for communities on it's called the LID Site Planning and Design Manual, that they're encouraging communities to adopt as benchmark standards. And they recommend a driveway width for a single lane of 9 feet and for a double lane of 18 feet. And this driveway is twice the maximum. The driveway is huge. So I would recommend, it's also a 4-bedroom house on a tiny buildable area. I won't argue that point, but certainly the driveway needs to be reduced at least 9 feet in the beginning, and then it could widen out and it could be permeable. I'm not sure why we're not accessing this from the existing road to begin with on the left, where they could just follow the existing road and turn right into the garage. But with this design, driveway area could certainly be reduced to minimize runoff and make it a permeable driveway.
John, is there any reason that the garage couldn't be accessed from the existing road?
Well, there's a couple issues. One is I'm not sure that they have the ability to share that driveway with the other owner. I'd have to look at that. I'm sorry. Was I on mute?
Yeah, no, I got it.
And I guess the other issue is, if I'm understand what's being said, I mean, it looks to me like, I'm not sure what the structures are on that side of the driveway. But I thought that's where the part of the septic system is, in between that driveway and the proposed driveway.
Yeah,
It looks like there's only a line from the pump chamber to the drain field. That would be pressure dose, so it doesn't matter if it's up or down.
Oh, I see. So you're saying come straight in.
Yeah,
The house that they're proposing here is a front entry garage. I mean, that would be the issue, aside from any access restrictions that may be in play with the existing driveway. Because you can't go over the top of the leach field to get to the front of the garage if that's what had to happen. And also, I did get a response on the number of bathrooms. It's 2.5.
okay.
Is that a 2-car garage, not a single-car garage, correct?
That is it's a 3-car garage with.
Oh, it's 3, okay. So that isn't, I mean, the orientation of the garage could only accommodate 3 on the front, correct? I mean, from the looks of it.
Yes, based on the orientation that it currently has.
What is the depth of the foundation of the house?
7.5 feet
Huh. So how do you do that without dewatering? I mean,
with a 2-foot water table.
yeah. So how do you install that without, dewatering?
Well, basically, you're building the house. There's a walkout on the side, and you're moving the earth around to bring the grade up in the front. So you're not digging into the water table.
Okay.
Is the answer.
It is an awfully large project for such a small lot. 3-car garage, 3,400 square feet house,
Wow.
lot. Is this a spec house, or is this where the Montefortis are going to live?
The owner, the Montefortis, are selling as a purchase and sales on the property. So it's being built for
On spec.
prospective buyer. Yes.
Well, my comment would be that if we're not building it, or if the owners are not building it for their specific needs of their specific family, that the project could be scaled down and sold that way with less impact on the site. I mean, between the driveway and the 3-car garage, it seems out of scale with this lot and the buildable area.
Right, I think it's reasonable to reduce, the size of the garage or the bedroom, but I understand that there's an investment in here. So at a minimum, it would be easy to reduce the size of that enormous driveway and make it permeable. I mean, that would be one thing that would minimize runoff and site disturbance.
I mean, one of the things
The more drastic measures are reducing the size of the garage in the house.
I mean, one of the things we could do is reduce the size of the driveway portion where it comes off of the roadway, but you are going to have to expand it out for access to the garage. But we could
Sure.
reduce
So-
the width at the beginning.
So
And
it
you
could be 9 feet from the road. The final third or so at the garage could widen out to the size of the garage doors.
And it could be made pervious, am I right?
Yeah, certainly pervious. That's a standard thing in the coastal zone.
I mean, the rain garden's proposed to handle the stormwater from the driveway. I mean, we do have setback requirements we need to maintain from the leach field as well. So, I mean, that's also a limitation that you have with doing the pervious driveway.
Oh, the setback is greater for the pervious driveway for the leach field?
It's not greater than any other BMP, but a 15-foot setback is required for a pervious driveway from the leach field.
I can't read what it is now. What is that? The current setback?
From the rain garden, it is 27.8 feet,
No, but the drain field to the driveway.
5 feet. It's probably just over 5 feet. The 5-foot setback is shown. The
Okay.
5-foot perimeter is shown there.
1.5. Yeah.
1 point.
No, it's 5 feet, approximately 5 feet from the leach field to the driveway edge. That 1.5 feet is the spacing of in between the trenches.
Okay.
Okay, the arrow, yes.
So Jason, so I understand there's a greater setback for a pervious driveway than for an impervious one?
Yeah, there's no setback requirement for a impervious driveway to a leach field, besides not being on top of it. When you go to a pervious driveway, it's a stormwater BMP. So the standard that's outlined for that is 15 feet.
So the alternative would be to simply reduce the width of the driveway to 9 feet as recommended by the benchmark standard in the DEM document. And then as you approach the garage doors, then it widens out to the maximum of 36, so people can turn around.
Right.
So that would be an improvement.
Okay.
Jason, how wide is the entrance to the driveway now?
I think it's
Just
18.
scaled it. I think it's,
18.
yeah, I think it might be 15 feet.
I think it's 18.
But yeah, we definitely can reduce that.
'Cause it, yeah.
So we have a reduction of the width of the driveway. Are we good with keeping the driveway impervious?
Doesn't look like there's much of a choice.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Jay.
I just want to remind the commission that this is an application for a special use permit for a septic system within 150 feet of a wetland. That's articulated under section 504 of the zoning ordinance. The standards that the applicant needs to meet are listed within section 504, and I would just encourage the commission, for the benefit of the zoning board, to correlate your suggestions with any of the standards that are listed in section 504. I think any applicant that comes to the town under this type of project would look to section 504 for guidance, and they would design their application to meet section 504. So any conditions or suggestions should directly tie back to those standards. Again, to help the zoning board, because that is what the measure that the zoning board would be using when they review this application.
Now, does that mean that we cannot make suggestions in our motion?
I think you can, but you need to articulate it in a way that the zoning board can understand. If you are making suggestions that have no relation to any of the standards, that just needs to be identified, clarified. Because otherwise the zoning board could feel that the suggestion is being imposed because something is not being met. Again, trying to just make sure that they correlate with each other. There should be a reason for your suggestions.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion and take those factors into account.
Please.
Right. I'd like to make a motion that the Conservation Commission recommends approval of the application with certain conditions. The applicant has met the minimum standards of section 504, including adding rain gardens to accommodate the 25-year runoff. And the minimum requirements are met, except that use of lid as required by the DEM Stormwater Design and Installations Manual to the maximum extent practicable has not been completely met as specified in page 3 of the 504 application. And in section L, wetlands and site disturbance, section L standard of 504, indicating that the applicant must minimize wetland and site disturbance to reflect the least disturbance to the site as possible. And the one area where minimizing site disturbance is certainly possible is reducing the size of the driveway width because it is much larger than DEM's recommended standards of 9 feet for a single lane driveway and 18 feet for a double lane driveway. It's double that. So we recommend that the width of the driveway be reduced to 9 feet from the entrance through the entire length of the driveway, except where it's necessary to expand the width to accommodate entry into and out of the doors of the driveway of the garage. So that should substantially reduce the impervious area, especially since a permeable driveway may not be possible due to the setback from the drain field.
Does anybody have any comments on that motion? Do I hear a second?
A second.
Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.
Great, thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
John.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next order of business is new business and advisory opinion to the zoning board for the Dalit Shahi special use permit, plat number 34-2, lot 33. Is there anyone here representing the applicant?
We have two attendees in the audience, Bob and John. If either of you are here for this application, could you raise your hand? Oh,
No?
yep, hold on a second. I'm going to bring him in.
Sure, yep.
Hey, John, can you unmute yourself?
How's that?
There you go. Think you're good.
Just to be sure, I'm not representing the applicant.
Excuse me?
Just to be sure, I'm not representing the applicant.
Oh, are you in a butter or a neighbor?
I am a butter, yes.
Oh, okay.
Did I jump in too early?
Yeah,
Anyone here actually representing the applicant?
Okay.
Am I gathering not? Jay?
Unless Bob is representing the applicant, but he did not raise his hand. Bob, are you representing this application? If you are, raise your hand.
I think he's muted.
Bob, I just allowed you to talk. If you could unmute and at least acknowledge if you can hear us. Okay, final call. Is there anyone here representing the, I don't even want to say it, Dalit Shahi application? Oh, Mr. Chairman, I think we may have to continue this. I had reached out to the applicant, did not hear back. I tried calling the applicant this evening and got voicemail.
Yep.
And it does not appear that anyone is here to present the application.
No, I think continuing it is a good idea. Do we need a motion to that effect?
May as well.
Okay, would somebody make the motion to continue this application to the January meeting?
I'll make a motion to continue this business to the January meeting.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Very good. We'll continue this to January, what is it, 3rd,
5th.
5th.
5th. Got it. Okay. Next, correspondence and public comment. I have one thing for comment is that I was asked by a member of the planning board if we had had a follow-up meeting where we discussed a follow-up of an application that we discussed in February requesting additional information. I couldn't remember, so I went to the town website to look at agendas and then minutes. And the only agenda listed on the town website for 2020 was tonight's agenda. There was no agenda listed for any other month, and there were only about 5 sets of minutes for all that. And I just wondered why more weren't posted. Jay,
Aren't
any
they
idea?
supposed to be on the Secretary of State's website?
Well, the town does list a whole lot of other, minutes and agendas. I just don't know why ours isn't included.
Mr. Chairman, are you talking about clerk base?
I presume so. It's the town website. And then where you have other boards and commissions, Conservation Commission was listed, and then it had agendas and minutes, and that's all I saw.
Is this it?
Yep.
So we post files to clerk base. We give clerk base the files and they post them.
Okay.
What they do is they put up the agendas, and then once minutes are approved,
Yep.
they take the agenda down and they just put the minutes up.
Okay. But I don't see all of the minutes listed. I could be mistaken. I'm not. I mean, this is a tiny little screen I'm looking at, so I can't say. But
The minutes listed for 2020 are January 7th, February 4th, March 3rd,
Okay.
June 4th, July 7th, August 4th, October 6th, November 3rd.
yeah. Okay.
That
All
would
right. Very good. Thanks for clarifying that.
Did you get an answer to your original question, though?
Yeah.
Plan-
That answers it. I didn't understand about how the minutes were coordinated with the agenda, so that's just fine. That's fine. Any other public comment or correspondence? Item H, update from staff on planning department activities.
Nothing in particular to report. We are busy. The planning board is having their regular meeting on December 22nd will be their 6th meeting in 2 months. So we are busy processing applications and keeping things up in the air. And the pandemic doesn't seem to be helping. We're down to a pod only directive from the town manager, meaning only one person in the office at a time. So we are predominantly working from home, Zooming in every day.
Yep.
And it makes it difficult. I came in the other day to put the Conservation Commission agenda together. I put it together started putting packets in the envelopes and happened to notice that Dow lot sheet application sitting on the table. Nobody told me it came in, and it had been sitting here for like 2 weeks.
Ugh.
I had to go back and redo the agenda, repost everything, you know. So it's
Yeah.
difficult, but we're doing the best we can.
Well, we appreciate that. Next meeting date and agenda items, it's going to be January 5th. And besides the continuation of the Dowlett Shahi application, does anybody else have anything that we should ask of Jay to put on the agenda? Or Jay, do you have anything at this point?
No, I do not.
Well, it's early yet. Okay, a designation of duty member for the December 9th, 2020 Technical Review Committee. Does anybody here want to volunteer to Zoom attend that meeting? It's at 9 o'clock in the morning, December 9th. If nobody does, I'm available to do that, but the more we can rotate, the better.
I'd like to consider that, maybe not for this meeting, but in the future, but it would be useful if we knew what the agenda was in advance.
Agreed.
Not available now.
I mean, I'm in the process of setting, I'll have the agenda done by tomorrow, but
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know. It's almost,
I understand it's difficult. So it's hard for me to take time from work unless it's an agenda item I feel I can contribute to. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's something in urban area that I don't know nothing about. So
I can do it.
fine if you're able to attend, David.
Yeah, I could not in December, but January, February would be fine.
Okay,
I could
All
do
right.
it, David.
you could?
I
Okay.
could.
Let's go ahead. Mary, that sounds great. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay.
All right. Does anybody else have anything at all to add before we adjourn?
I have one question for Mary.
Yep.
Mary, would you like a hard copy packet or
Yeah, I
Is-
think that would be good.
hard copy? Okay,
Yes.
Jay, could I get an e-copy to look at?
the agenda.
Sure.
I mean, e-copy is the agenda because I link everything on the agenda.
All right.
Yeah, if I don't remember, just either look for it, post it, or just email me and I'll send it to you.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. The time is 6:39 and our meeting is now adjourned. Jay, thanks very much. Thank you all.
Thanks, Jay.
You.
Nice to see you.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Good to see you.